Hi everyone, this is Snit, and in this video we're continuing with the thumb, and where I ended off in the previous video is to sharing how that little neck just above my knuckle is indicating that I was at the precipice of change, but there's a point where I'm falling back constantly and continuously. Because of where that neck was and the flow of the currents within the physical body, and how important that is also to consider, interestingly enough, because that's also something that I can assess. And what I do also in my mind-body Innerverse with many of my clients is, when they have nicks or bruises or nails breaking and things like that, I can also assess where they are in a process of change, either at the beginning or kind of still starting, or they have started but there's still some points where it's missing, so their change process is moving but then getting stuck, or taking one step forward, 10 steps back. So that's also why I'm mentioning this, and that's also something for me that I like reading from within my physical body, is where exactly the cut is within a flow or a current. I think many people also refer to them as the meridian lines. Similar, but not exactly the same. That's just a reference to also have in terms of what I mean by the channels, the movements, the flow of the mind, self, and body relationship. So then I was like, okay, so looking back at this restlessness that I've been working with, we sometimes think that we're working with something and that how we work with it, how we're going about it is enough. We're getting to this habit or pattern of acceptance, and I call it the apathy of acceptance, where you do not push yourself enough in your relationship with working with something, changing with something, and really meaning it. Like with me, it's like this restlessness was kind of always there, and I would, when it comes up and it shows itself, I would take a breath or calm myself down, and work with my methods and techniques that's worked for me throughout my life, and then move through it, and then continue with what I was doing. Because for me, I just, looked at this point is so ingrained within me from childhood, from copying and imitating it from my parent, that it's going to take some time to let go. And that also right there is, I realized, was the point of acceptance, like an apathy of acceptance, like, this particular pattern is going to take a lot longer to get through because I've had it for most of my life, so I must just be patient with it. But still, with a method I did use of just being patient with it and just working through it every now and then, it didn't really change or alleviate enough, but I didn't even notice it, because I just for so long accepted that this is how I'm going to work with this pattern of restlessness, and that's it. I kind of even forget about any other method. Okay. There's my pup as well. His name is Stoat, which is Afrikaans for naughty. So just so that you don't get alarmed with the movement that's back there, I think you can ever so clearly see it. So he's joining us today. But continuing, so it's working with this pattern of restlessness, and that's how you can get into that apathy of acceptance and not look at it really more, not after weeks or months really consider changing or changing it up, being more pushy with yourself, being more driven. Maybe have a look at other methods and techniques that can work with a process of change within a pattern that you're busy facing inside yourself. But other times, we do need those little cuts and bruises of attention and awareness because of, how busy we are inside of ourselves with so many other things on a daily basis, with the extent to which we can be stimulated by reality, by people, by moments, by phases in life, that the only method of support to really bring our attention to also important things in ourselves is through our body communicating with us in these little instances of cuts and bruises. But it's not like, don't get me wrong, I mean, it's not like, you know, there's this part of you that's aware, or even your body, that takes over in a moment and, you know, causes a cut or a bruise. No. I mean, you do it to yourself. I'm just, that mentioning of that perspective of a deep part of you and your physical body, utilizing that moment to communicate with you, is just for you to see how specific, you know, and how much of yourself is involved in the moments of cuts and bruises. Like, a cut and a bruise is not necessarily just a cut and a bruise. It can be. I mean, sometimes something happens to me where, oh goodness, I'm clumsy. So I'd be walking in the fields, walking my pups a couple of times a week, and there'd be one rock in an area. I'd be the one to trip over it. I'd be tripping over a rock, and that would be purely physical, because when I look at where it happened and what happened, I don't see any particular dimensions inside myself. I always unconditionally check, you know, where it happened on my body, what the nature of the bruise is, the experience of it. And sometimes it's just also a wake-up call and reminder for me to take care of myself, to tend to myself. Because I then also ask myself, when last did I actually spend some time with myself, like take a nice Epsom salt bath, which I love doing, while reading a book, or just reading a book, or just going for a walk by myself, not necessarily feeling like, okay, I have to take the pups for a walk to give them some exercising, just spend some time alone with me. And then I realized, ooh, haven't done that in a long time. So please note, you know, that not always do things that happen to your body necessarily represent a particular thing that you're working with inside yourself. All right, so here, you know, with that cut and that bruise and the restlessness, this is what I also help many clients with, in identifying your relationship with that cut and that bruise in your physical body, how you can work with that level of communication with yourself and your body. You can have that equal awareness of what is going on inside yourself, and so immediately know what your body is trying to communicate with you. You see, as with me, I immediately knew and was aware of the fact that I was working with this restlessness, which is why I could relate that to my physical body. So when you work with me in Mind, Body, Innerverse, and I guide you through that process of body awareness, you also at the same time become more self-aware of your mind. So I work with both dimensions within yourself, your mind patterns and your physical patterns. So do remember as well, when you walk with me and you're going through any personal experiences, we deal with that as well, the inner reality and the physical reality, because of how interconnected and one and equal they are. Whatever happens within manifests without. As without, so within. That principle, right? But I hope everyone can get a general idea now in relation to, just one moment, oh, let me see if he wants to go out, no. In relation to, you know, that point of the thumb and the cuts and the bruises, have a look at asking yourself, especially on the left side, what have I been more focused on? I mean, obviously we focus on maybe quite a few things inside of ourselves, but it will be the one that's most intense, more in the forefront. It's been more bothersome, where your awareness has shifted to the most within yourself and your life of late. And again, you know, if you have any other questions, or would like me to expand on anything in this video, please feel free to comment below, and I gladly expand on any points to assist and support you in this process of self and body awareness. Everyone, thank you very much for listening to my story, and we'll see you in videos to come, sharing with you the current channels of movement within the mind, being in body, and how and why the body has established that constancy and consistency in the movement and flow of information. What does it mean for the body as well? in its trust and relationship with itself. Alright everyone, thank you very much for being here, and see you again from me and my pup start. Bye.